So, good afternoon, Ms. Neff. Thank you so much for allowing me to come into your classroom and watch the collaborative process between yourself and Ms. Thrasher. So, thank you for having me. Um, just wanted to start off with what I saw or witnessed in the classroom. First and foremost, you and Mr. S have a phenomenal collaborative relationship with each other while you were administering your oral reading fluency exams with scholars. She was working with the students as they prepared for their student-led conference. What I loved is I noticed that you had a template for the students. So you gave them kind of a, here's what you need to say, and here's how I'd like you to draft it. Both you and Ms. Thrasher mentioned whether or not they had sent you their drafts yet, so you were very engaged and attentive. Even though you were doing oral reading fluency, you still kept an ear out, even though Ms. Thrasher was also in the class, too. So question, I noticed you had a very colorful form on your, what do you call it, your smart board. And on the form, the students were listed in groups. How are those groups determined?
For writing, they are determined solely by beginning level, middle level, high level. So it's not quite a flexible group like I normally would do.
Gotcha.
But for writing, we want to be really explicit. So normally that's our heavily focused writing time. It was just today trying to get in testing and preparing for conferences. So those groups stay there a lot of the time because then we know exactly who needs to write 5 paragraphs versus who needs to write 3 paragraphs versus who's focusing on 1 paragraph.
So they were grouped by phases of writing. So where were they in the writing process?
So who is at the beginning level, who is the mid, who can we push?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. I thought that was really cute because I looked up and said, well, they know where to sit. Does it change?
Yeah. So let's say when we finish our writing and we go back to a lot of like centers and stations, then they'll be grouped not according to ability. They'll be grouped according to according to how they score, probably like on their last ORF, and mixed in with who can actually work in a group together.
Gotcha. Okay. Plus, this also helps them get ready for the Right Score examinations that are coming up too, right?
Yes.
So how do you prepare them for Right Score?
So to prepare for Right Score, I was actually super impressed with my class. I had some of the highest growth. So I had a lot of 3s in my class, which is still not passing. However, they went from 1s to 3s.
That's still progress.
It is progress, and they all focused on the areas that you can tell that we've been working on, which was introduction, body, and conclusion. So a lot of them started scoring sufficient amount of that, and looking at their work, and there was a lot of conferencing going on. So when we conferenced with them about it, they all realized all they needed to do was write more.
Okay. So what would you say was the key to your success to help them go from 1s on Right Score to 3s?
And that is what I'm about to say is not my normal flow of teaching.
Okay.
But it's what works. It's explicit instruction for writing. It is, this is what your introduction is going to look like. This is what your conclusion is going to look like. Normal scholars that function on grade level or above, I would not say to do that at all. That's not,
Gotcha.
I would let them decide how they wanted it to be, what opening do you want? But for them, it is, you're going to start with a question. You're going to end with in conclusion. Your transition words are going to have to be this. I'm hoping that once they become better writers, then that will take, once they're middle school, it will flow. It'll be flexible. But they have no foundation, so I did have to give explicit instruction of how to do it.
Okay. And modeling it too.
I had to model. So we did a lot of shared writing and a lot of modeled writing.
Okay. Do you ever give them opportunities to peer review each other?
Yes. So we do. They peer review each other. Anyone who finishes, and they get with each other. And we are real big on technology in my room, so we do a lot of peer feedback on Google Docs.
Oh.
And so they have to give each other feedback, and then I can check it. We also do a lot of. I'll say pause time, share your opening. Whatever you have to write so that the whole class can see it. They just don't know who you are, so it's kind of anonymous. And with anonymous writing, so then they'll clearly say, that person didn't have a capital. Oh, you have no introduction, and they can use those words with each other, so they love that as well. Then we'll do, once we have corrected our, we're all have introductions that are at least presentable, then we share as a class with our name, and we will say, they'll direct their feedback right back and forth to each other. They'll be straight up, yours does not make sense.
Oh, wow.
What else could you add? And so they've gotten really good at that.
So they're very honest but not hurtful with their feedback.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a really great sense of community in your classroom. I've seen you teach maybe twice, which is awesome. And the one young lady dropped this whole container of pens. I don't know if you remember that first time I was in there, and she dropped all the pencils and pens everywhere. And she was embarrassed. 2 other classmates, without having to be prompted, just were so empathetic and helped her pick up everything. You can tell there's really a culture for helping each other. We're a family. We are definitely crew here, so I definitely felt that when I came in.
And that's changed a lot from the beginning of the year. We start with, we can't fight our own crew. So we cannot fight in the classroom, cannot fight at specials, we cannot fight each other in the hallway. Then we work towards, we don't fight anybody else in our 4th grade crew.
Gotcha. I like how you expanded. I was wondering.
And
Okay.
then, we're trying not to get in any fights, because you fight someone in our crew, you automatically have silent lunch. You don't, because now you don't want to be a part of our crew. So you don't have silent. You have silent lunch. You can be away from them. You do not get to play with them at recess. You can sit out. So just really trying to focus on what can we do for each
Get
other,
along.
and then we spread it out. Now then it's to the whole greenhouse. Now you've got to protect the 3rd graders. So it's the crew we try.
Well, it's evident. You can see it there, because I'm curious. I'm wondering if I dropped. Well, the kids are very helpful to me, but I think with my older scholars, I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I forgot my next question. It'll come back to me. I'm getting old. But while I'm trying to remember that next question in my aging process here, I want to provide for you a post-observation form. So I think I gave you a pre-observation form previously.
Okay.
So this is just a form for you to evaluate me and as I try to grow as a leader. So give me open and honest feedback. Tell me how I can improve. Also tell me what were some areas that I did well. I would really appreciate it. And only area, I didn't see anything of any major concern in your class. I know your class is a collaborative setting, and you have a lot of scholars of differing abilities and levels in the room. You guys do a great job of helping all of them, but trying to make sure you reach all of them. Because it's kind of hard, because some of them, I'm sure, are a whole lot more independent than others. So try to lay a hand on each of them and not stay with that one scholar too long. Yes. You're welcome, and thank you for everything.
Thanks.
Do you have any other questions or comments for me? Because I know I talked your head off today.
I appreciate you coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me.